Hello, good evening, and welcome to another edition of the CantinaMX podcast special Gentleman's Agreement While Driving Remix Edition. My name is John Jagu. Glad to have you with us. It's Tuesday night. It's Martes de Copa. Martes is Raul de Villacoapa. We have a lot to talk about. Joining me, as always, in my gentleman's agreements is Joel Aceves, who joins me from somewhere in an undisclosed location in Southern California. Not sure where or when. I'm not even sure if this is Joel that I'm speaking to. It could be a Joel bot. So I'm not sure. This is Joel. Joel Aceves, how are you, sir?
Doing good. Was watching the Chivas versus Cimarrones. I don't even know if I'm saying that right. Chivas versus the Rams. Copa MX game, and I'm pretty much missing the Chaflas Pumas, but I think Atlas is one up.
You hush your mouth.
It's if I'm not mistaken, it's the debut of Bruno Marioni.
It is. Over the weekend, Pumas, after losing to, I think it was Pachuca, 1-0,
Yes.
and after
Another debut. Another RG.
Martin Palermo had to win. The same Martin Palermo trenza that he used to have. Wasn't he the one that had like the little braided ponytail? Was that Martin Palermo?
No, that's Palacios.
Well, yeah. So David Patiño, a Mexican coach, was after about I guess a little over 2 years at Pumas, 1 full season and 2 mini seasons, was given the boot. Bruno Marioni, who Pumas fans will remember from the glory years of the bicampeonato, brought in. He was the coach at, if I'm not mistaken, Venados de Mérida, where he brought them from extinction into the Liguilla and the Ascenso. And Pumas is hoping that they will have the same kind of luck with him there at Pumas. It was a change that frankly needed to be made. I've always been a big David Patiño fan. He was an outstanding player before he got hurt. He would have been a mainstay on the 1994 World Cup team before he got hurt. He was an outstanding player. Didn't work out for him at Pumas. Pumas just, it kind of had like what I call the Chepo disease, and I don't mean that in a bad way, but when I think of Chepo in the World Cup qualifying, Chepo would go up 2-0, 1-0, whatever it was, and instead of continuing to attack and continuing to play your style, they would go into a completely unaccustomed defensive shell, and they would panic, and it just would never work out. And that's exactly what Pumas had done in a couple of their season. It just didn't work out for him, and they also did it last season as well. So hopefully Mr. Patiño will be able to land on his feet. I'm sure he'll be fine. But yeah, Pumas, as I've mentioned on this podcast many times ago, Pumas is in trouble. They are not 30 points last year, but it was 30 points by beating a lot of bad teams. And Liga MX,
I lost you, John. I don't know if you're driving under a tunnel, but I hear no sound from your end.
Excuse me, Joel. I was talking about, pardon me, about Pumas is they just last season was kind of an aberration, and they're just not good. They're not a good team. They weren't well coached. It was time to make a change. mid-season change, but at that point, it was had to.
Yeah. Well, luckily, Veracruz is more than happy to have a very horrible season and take the fall. Then you still have Atlas and Puebla. You got a couple teams right there willing to outperform Pumas when it comes to the tabla de porcentaje, which is used that's what's used for relegation. The relegation
Now
percentage chart
is like 30 points ahead of Veracruz, so they're they don't have too many games to go. We have to worry about that. But it's the upcoming seasons. The Pumas fans should 30 points because I always say if you can get they're probably going to be pretty safe.
Well,
in the next 13 games.
The table that I have, is this an old one? I gotta make sure I have a new one. Okay, here is a cociente, because I think there's quite a few teams. So Veracruz, they're pretty much
they're way down there.
Yeah, they're relegation. They're on the fast track to relegation, and then there's the Gallos Blancos de Querétaro, followed by Puebla and Lobos, then Atlas. So I think and Pumas does have quite an advantage over Atlas. So I think you still have like 2 seasons. But yeah, you don't want to end up, in the dreaded relegation zone.
No, not at all. It's it's not fun. I mean, Chivas were in the relegation zone for how many years? But 3 years?
Yeah, it takes about 3 years to get out of it, like to make enough points that you're pretty safe, which was also Atlas. And Atlas is falling right back into it. But Chivas was at one point candidate to go down. Along with what was the name of that team?
The team that went down. See, that's what happens. That's what happens when you get relegated in Liga MX.
It was the Sinaloa team.
You were gone and forgotten. And no one, think of a team like Atlante, who's been around since the turn of the 20th century. One of the oldest clubs in Mexico, and they moved to Cancun. They won a championship. They were ahead. How many Mexican teams can say this about their trayectoria? At one point, they were leading Barcelona 1-0. A chance to go up 2-0 and missed their opportunity, and from that point on, chacabo. But now they're in Cancun. No one knows. They've been relegated for how many years now? They're just. It's like that in Back to the Future when Marty's looking at the picture of his brother.
It's fading.
And they're starting to fade away. Yeah. That's what's happening to Atlante. That's what's happening to Atlante's history and memory. It is just fading away.
Yeah, Atlante, and they're one of the historic teams. It's a shame, but I could see Liga MX expanding to 20 teams. If I'm not mistaken, I think they used to be at 24 at one point. And to me, that would make sense if they went back up, because I just could see. I think that would take care of some issues if they went up to 20 or 24 teams.
Right.
Because I know that televisoras want, they're beginning to have more competition. So
they want more inventory.
Excuse me?
They want more inventory.
Yeah, that would guarantee the big two because they still have first dibs with the teams, but that would guarantee them to have more games
You know,
broadcasting.
at some point, Liga MX is going to have to. They're going to have to get rid of their little fiefdom business model that they have, and they're going to have to. They're going to have to, for their television thing, they're going to have to aggregate. Now, Tom Marshall has pointed out, and rightly so, correctly so, and we have as well many times. When media companies own the soccer teams, it's going to be very hard for the teams to, come together and negotiate, which, frankly, is insane to me. But that's just the way it is. But I mean, it's almost like Liga MX. It's something we've talked about for years, that they are their own worst enemy. And it's just very unfortunate that it has to be the way it is for them right now. Joel, you're bringing me down. You are bringing me down, Joel. We always go down this path, and we end up in like some really dark corner of the Yankees. We need to snap out. We need to talk about something more positive.
Pumas did tie. They tied Atlas, so that cup game is 1-1 right now.
You know what was the most painful about the Atlas game what Pumas had a few weeks ago is that when Atlas scored, they were claiming that Pumas gave up the victory, snatched victory or snatched defeat from the jaws of victory. They said that the Pumas, they lost it. I don't know, Atlas. You know how painful that was going to have to do that.
Yeah, not good at all. But I don't know, man.
Because let's be honest, when an announcer says "Alo Atlas," is that a good thing or a bad thing?
No, it's you're talking about a team that hasn't won anything in, I would say, 60, 70 years. So it's not good. It's not good, but I think Pumas, they've been too thrifty. They're gonna have to loosen the coin purse, the strings on the coin purse, and then they should be fine, because they do have.
Well, I'm going to interrupt you really quickly, but I have noticed that the strings on Pumas have been a little tighter ever since CantinaMX quit being a sponsor on their jersey.
Yes. Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead. Continue.
No, well, I mean, they have the Patronato they have, and they got a couple old dudes, man. They're about to be 80. And I'm like, if these guys just, they're not willing to put more effort into the team, then. But I think it's every 2 years that the Patronato changes the board of directors. And I was looking at a who's who right there, and they got quite a few. They got some big wigs, man. And I was like, you think these guys could start a GoFundMe with with all the connections they have? I would expect more from this list of names.
Well, I mean, let's face it. I mean, UNAM has something that is very unique in Mexican soccer, is that they have, as far as quote unquote clubs go, you can't get a club, and I'm saying that with air quotes, bigger than Pumas UNAM, because you have an alumni base of the university of which the school that the team is affiliated with, and don't think that doesn't play. For the and I'm not saying that every alum is going to be a huge Pumas fan, but you have enough there that you can. I mean, there's There's definitely some people that they can talk to when it comes to what you're saying. And I think that there's the opportunities there.
Yeah, like some of the names that are in the Patronato. So they have Hector Slim Seade. And yes, he is related to Carlos Slim, and he's the CEO of Telmex. I mean, god dang. Can you get a stadium naming rights? You know? Wait, is that one of their main sponsors right now? Is it Telmex?
No. In fact, I don't think Telmex is a sponsor at all. Maybe they're not allowed to sponsor the team when they're.
And the shirt in their jersey, who do they have?
I think it's DHL.
Oh, yeah, you're right. In Banca Mifel.
Ouch.
They have Telcel, Herbalife, and Corona. All three in the back. And in the front, they have DHL. And then they got something on the side. And you guys are almost like a NASCAR. You don't know what's going on.
Come on.
Nothing compares to those Santos jerseys from way back. No, they look like Santos, a newspaper.
Yeah, they look like the Sunday funnies.
Damn, man. Those Santos from like, what was it, late 90s?
Hey, I remember when Chivas was pretty branded up too, so let's not pretend that it didn't happen.
But never to Santos, man. Santos takes it. Those guys sold any inch into their jersey. It was like,
well, the ones that always crack me up were it's in Monterrey too. Monterrey used to be just. I mean, they had a sponsor for the left nalga and a sponsor for the right nalga.
Oh man, I forgot about that. But yeah, looking at some of the names, in the Patronato, it's a pretty big names. Hold on, let me get, and I had the list of what they do and where they worked. There's a slim guy, and then they have hold on. Yeah, I can't get this guy, man. Should have done my homework.
Well, we kind of jumped right on. While you are looking for that list, we can discuss another topic, and that's what I was alluding to earlier, is that Mexico historically has looked for, the striker position as a position of has always been one of need. Let's just say, and a lot of people seem to have pretty quick to dismiss Raul Jimenez's chances over in the Premier League. He did not do well at had a moderate amount of success at Benfica. I think that he probably would have done a lot better and played had. He was scoring goals against Bayern Munich in the semifinals. It was either the semis or the quarters of the Champions League. He was getting big goals for Benfica, and there was a deal for him to go play in China, if I'm not mistaken, for $56 million, which I'm sure, as you pointed out, the agent got for him. What's his agent's name?
It's Mendes. Jorge Mendes.
So Raul declines the offer, does not go to China. Benfica, who like Porto, buys low and sells high. I mean, that goes against their business model. That is not what they don't buy guys and then have them not move on, especially for that much. Just it's not part of their MO. Needless to say, after that decision was made by Raul, he did not play nearly as much at Benfica as he did before the offer came in. So he's obviously on the outs there. So the relationship between he and the club had been settled. At least they were nice enough to send him over to Wolverhampton over in the Premier League, and unbelievably, Raul has taken the opportunity. They threw him a bone, and as I mentioned before, he's sucking the marrow out of the bone with the chance that he's getting. And he got 2 more goals again today against West Ham teams, which is
against Chicharo's team.
Against Chicharo's team, scores a doblete. Good goals, well taken goals. Not chilenas from outside the area, but and he's had just an outstanding, sensational year at West Ham. He or at Wolverhampton has been. They are in 7th place. They have a chance. Well, they are 10 points behind, which is just at this point it's practically insurmountable. But they have a chance for maybe even make Europe. And Wolverhampton is in the Premier League to stay up for a couple of years to make some TV money, and then what happens? So they're not in it. I mean, they're in it to just barely escape relegation.
Jimenez has 8 goals and 6 assists in the Premier League, and 2 more goals in the FA Cup.
And how many goals out of the how many? So he has 4, and I think he's also been awarded 2 penalty kicks, which is like a half assist. So that's 16 goals, or 16 goals that Raul Jimenez has been directly or indirectly responsible for. And how many goals have they scored in the league this year?
I don't know. I haven't been keeping up with Wolves.
I thought we were doing a bit. I thought that you were going. Well, let me tell you, John. It's going to be.
No. I just had it because I had updated the Facebook page earlier after the match because it was today. So I had updated that for the followers of the Cantina and Facebook.
So Wolverhampton has scored 30 goals this year. So that means that Raul Jimenez has been directly or indirectly responsible for 50% of Wolverhampton's goals this season. 50%. What more could you ask for in a strike? He's probably going to end up with, I'm guessing between 12 to 15 goals when it's all said and done in the Premier League. That's outstanding.
Yeah, that's a nice number. Yeah, I think it's safe to say he's gonna remain with Wolves one more season. So Jorge Mendes, he's his super agent. So he's known as the super agent in European soccer, and he's the guy that represents Cristiano Ronaldo.
Well, hang on a second. Don't. It's not Wolves. Well, they don't have to buy him outright because he was on. If I'm not mistaken, he's on loan from Benfica to Wolves. So Benfica still.
No, yeah, but he has Mendes. They have like something with Mendes, so I think he would make it happen, and I think at this point it benefits.
Go ahead.
No, it just benefits Jimenez to remain in the EPL. I don't think Benfica would want him back. I mean, even if they did, he wouldn't go.
Want him back. I'm not saying that Benfica will, and then I don't think Benfica wants him back. But I do know. Well, a couple of things. How interesting is it that Wolves has a Portuguese coach? I don't know.
Okay, I
don't know how that could happen.
I got this tidbit for you here, Jon. So Mendes' relationship. So this is his relationship with Wolves. Mendes has a relationship with the Fosun conglomerate. I think it's Chinese investors, which bought the club last summer from the house building magnate Steve Morgan. And so
So you're saying that Mendes is like a super duper
he
Carlos
has a
Santana?
business. Well, yeah, he has a business partnership, and he's basically the one in charge of bringing the players.
Well, no wonder he had that deal for him to go to China. See, it's all
Yeah.
making sense now. So that happened, and who does what is the nationality of the coach at Wolves? It's Portuguese.
Yep.
So it's basically his team.
It's Mendes. Yeah. Well, I think a lot of the players they brought in were all brought in from Mendes, and I think that's a big reason. Not to take anything away from Raul, because I think he's a great talent. He's shown that on the pitch. But when he arrived to Atletico de Madrid, he had a really hard time. And under normal circumstances, they would have maybe just given how much they paid for him. They would have probably just held on to him for like maybe one more season, and he would have been back in Liga MX. But because he was well represented, that guy took him to Benfica in Portugal, where he has connections, and he managed to get playing time and had a chance to prove himself.
Well, I'll
And
tell you what it does, Glenn, is that you know Mendes is not just putting a bunch of schlubs playing. Mendes is the kind of guy that he wants his roster to be full of as many talented players as possible. So if he has faith in Raul's if this guy has faith, then
yeah,
and he has, and I think that this would have happened, had he played for Benfica in those last, after he declined the.
yeah, the mega deal. Which I'm wondering if it was the same Chinese that bought Wolves.
You could tell
Some of the same group.
Yeah. So what my point is that I don't necessarily think that he's going to end up at Wolves, not because he's not going back to Benfica. He's going to go to another Premier League team.
I don't know. I don't know, Jon.
Dude,
I think he needs more than one good season for that.
The EPL is like it's like Liga MX on steroids, man. There are teams that make.
I know, but we forget one thing, and that's just how difficult it is for Mexican players to make it abroad if they don't have the EU passport. So if you don't have an EU passport, teams can only have about 4, 5 max sometimes non-European Union players. And so usually if you're one of those 4 or 5, you have to be like very consistent. And
right. No, I understand.
I feel that one good season is not,
Yeah, but my point is it hasn't been one good season. He was consistent. He was consistent before the transfer move, and then he didn't play because they wouldn't play him. They were ticked at him. So I mean, they lo congelaron.
Yeah. So
what I'm saying is that what we're seeing now, we would have seen back then. That is the only point I made.
Yeah, but I mean, I could see him staying in Wolves, and if he has 2 good seasons, and then I could see maybe another team saying, okay, he's proven now. He's like a commodity in this league. He's shown that he can adapt to this style of play and that he guarantees this many goals, or this is what he brings to the team. Because he meets all the requirements. He's tall, he's physically strong, and he's really good with the ball at his feet.
That's what makes him such a great Premier League striker.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Seriously, I mean that is the especially for the let's face it, he's not playing with his back to the goal per se, but he can if he has to.
Yeah,
and he has the body to handle it.
Yeah, might not look at it in the field, but he's 6'3". Just whoa.
Right.
It's like, 6'3", man.
Because he has such great ball control that if he brings the ball down you know he's going to do something with it.
Yeah.
And it's not just a tronco that's going to, stuff's going to bounce off of him, and that's, hopefully it bounces in a positive direction.
And
that's not Raul at all. He's not a. He is 100% not a tronco in any way.
6'3" sin tacones, John. Imagine he puts those on. Forget about it.
Yeah,
He'd
and
be even taller.
He's a great header. He shoots with the right and the left, and he has a wicked outside shot. That's something that we don't see from his game very often. But
given his form, and this is something we talked about earlier. If these Mexican players that are in Europe, not just in Europe, but like the key players of the Mexican national team, if they're able to maintain this consistency, come Gold Cup, they're just gonna sweep. Van a arrasar, man. But there's still a few months for that. It's gonna be in the summer.
The Gold Cup is gonna have I do agree that Mexico's gonna have their best and brightest there, because Tata needs to get Tata needs to get a trophy.
Starting with the right foot, and the table is set. I mean, you have Jimenez, he's having just career high, and then you have Lainez, who's now at Betis. He just got his start. He's already been getting playing time, and he's been looking good.
Yeah, that it's great that these one or two guys are doing this. Mexico needs 30, 40 guys. 30. They need to have.
No, it's true. But right now, for the Gold Cup, for the Gold Cup, we just need 5. Yeah. For the World Cup, we need 30. But for the Gold Cup, we have five good ones, and so you got this guy, Jimenez, Lainez. You get Chucky in there, and they have the goalkeeper. Ochoa's always been solid, and you still have Hector Moreno, even Salcedo, who returned. He's he's still selección material. But
Tecatito has had an outstanding season.
Oh, that's right. He's having a really good season, man.
And they're playing him. They're playing him as a wingback, Tecatito, which makes him even more dangerous as far as because that means that now you have 2 guys on that side that can do crazy things.
So see, John, no need to worry that La Chofis is down. I think Mexico has ample cover.
Well, you know that when La Chofis does come back, that's just going to set the team over the edge. That's
man.
That's what's going to teeter. You want the quinto partido? Can I interest you in the quinto partido? Are you in the market to make the quinto partido, sexto partido?
Sexto.
Why settle for the quinto? Let's make the sexto. Because if you make the sexto, then you're going to play a septimo, right? You're going to win or lose. You're going to play 7. So let's go for the sexto partido. That should be the goal. I think being a semifinal. People say, well, why don't you is your goal to win the World Cup? Of course, everyone. But the reality is no.
Yeah.
Any world. They got to get some breaks on the way, but you know what? It happens.
Yeah, I think it's bound to happen for Mexico, man. I think the team has been its own worst enemy,
and we'll
it's made some bad choices. If not, they could have gotten there. Even because sometimes the cards just lay on the table like that, and we've seen teams that have gotten that far before, just based on one good generation,
right.
or you just had the right opponents. So we saw, for example, Bulgaria, who knocked out Mexico in '94, and Mexico had them on the ropes. They were winning 1-0, and then Bulgaria lost a man. Was trying to punch Luis Garcia, that was the Irish team, huh? Remember the guy that runs behind Luis Garcia throwing punches?
Right. Oh yeah, Terry Taylor.
Who was an actual boxer, I think.
And then Luis Garcia puts his arm around him starts talking to him and says, "Hey, you see that scoreboard over there, buddy? See those 2 goals?" He goes, "I scored those. Yo las metí. Yo las metí."
Yeah,
Point,
flashback.
do it,
Flashback
two
Tuesday.
finger tap, 2 finger tap back on his chest. It's a great moment.
I almost
One of the
forgot it, but
great Mexico, great World Cup moments.
I almost forgot about that. I just remembered it right now. But players running right behind him, Luis Garcia striding away, and this guy throws 2 punches, man.
Smacks him in the back of the head.
Missed him. Missed him.
Why
But
he wasn't red carded? Why he wasn't red carded is just shocking to me.
oh man. Oh, okay. But yeah, but then against Bulgaria, though, I remember Mexico's winning 1-0. There was a red card. I think it was for a foul on Luis Garcia. And then that was when the whole controversy came because Mejia Barón was the coach at the time, and he sent Hugo Sanchez to warm up. And then he sits him right back in the bench.
Why are you bringing me down?
But see that Bulgaria team went on to progress further. We've seen Korea and Turkey also advance pretty far, and I was like, Mexico could do the same, They
that
could.
Same World Cup, Sweden was the semifinals.
Oh yeah, Sweden.
Sweden and Bulgaria were semifinal. That could have exactly.
Yeah, those aren't teams that aren't that consistent when you look at or that strong, that are considered top 10.
That Germany-Bulgaria game is still the funniest. I have a good swell. I think it's a good story. We were watching that. I went full Walter Mercado because Germany scores. Like 20 minutes left out. You know what? Bulgaria is going to get 2 goals. They're going to win this thing. And it just popped out. And then Lechkov, Risto draws a foul. He just falls, and the refs blow the whistle. Of course, takes a free kick and it goes in. Very smart. That's the only way they were going to score against him. So why not draw the foul?
Yeah.
And then the second one was Lechkov, which is one of the great World Cup goals in history. The diving header. Just a beautiful goal. And yeah, they make semifinals. Sweden has made it. Turkey. Turkey.
Yes. Yeah, Turkey. And everyone at that point was talking about they were going to be the new, one of the new powerhouses. Their league was on the rise. They were investing good money. They were putting in these players.
Uruguay made the semifinals in 2010.
Right? But Uruguay is something else, though.
Hang on a second. Hang on a second. Mexico had that path that Uruguay took.
Yes.
Was available in the head for Mexico. So it could have been Mexico beating Korea and Ghana to make the semifinals like Uruguay. Uruguay is a great team, and they deservedly won both those games. That was a great generation. But there's no saying that Mexico could not have won either of those games or both those games as well. But that just said that you have to catch some breaks. Mexico loses that game, they play freaking Argentina instead.
Well, the more hurt, I'm gonna give it to you now. Is Genju 2002, man. That was, man. You played a Confederation rival, and they lost, and that was pretty bad. And I think
I think I've said maybe 50 words about that game ever since it happened.
Yeah, it's painful. It's painful. One thing that I always felt led to that win was because up until then, Mex had been playing a friendly in the U.S. pretty much every year, and it was when they had just gotten with Soccer United marketing, and I think that was one of the main things to have one of these clásicos, CONCACAF Clásico in the U.S. and they would always have it after February. or after the January. I can't remember, but it was always because the U.S. always would host camp around that time. So I mean, they would prepare well, and a lot of times Mex would just go into that game like por compromiso, we have to play it, whatever. But every win, it just gave the U.S. more confidence. So it got to the point where they're facing Mexico, and they
Well, it's
they
not only
they
that.
know it.
The
They had,
U.S. team, when they pay out like bonuses to the national team, like per diem or whatever it is, the bonus the players get for beating Mexico is as high as winning a World Cup game.
it's high, but and then just they had known
They're
by
always,
that point. They had no, but those have gotten into the Mexican players' heads, and you could see it in that game. You could see a lot of the
of course,
frustration and all that, and they already knew it, and they had kind of won that game. So I remember seeing that match. Not seeing that match, but I was the last games of the group, and the US was playing Portugal. No, not Portugal. They were playing. What was it? Poland. They had lost
yeah,
pretty
they
bad
got
to
blitzed,
Poland,
right?
and they were about to be eliminated. Portugal is playing Korea, and Portugal's down like 2 men, and this is one of their golden generation with Figo and Rifago. They had a couple good players that were just. They had one like under 20. Uh, they were just. It was like their golden generation,
Right.
pre CR7, and
Ricosta and
dude,
Pauleta and all those guys.
there you go. Yeah, those are the names, and they came close to winning despite being 2 men down when they hit that post, and if that ball would have gone in, they're through, and the US would have been eliminated. But then when I saw that they lose, and then I saw like, oh, US to face Mexico, I was like, oh man, that's the one game I did not want.
Yeah, no, it was exactly. I mean, they'd gotten into the fans' heads too. See,
Yeah, no,
they were in your head.
well, because I had seen it already. Copa America 90, what was it, 95? They beat Mexico in penalties. There was a Nike Cup, the Nike Cup when Hugo Sanchez he had Pumas. Remember, Mexico sent Pumas to
Right.
a mini selección tournament. So it was Pumas wearing the selección kit, and they won that game 3-0. It was Bruce Arena had taken over. So they had already been winning a couple games between friendlies and tournaments. So I was like, oh snap. This is, and I know as fans we used to brush it off. Well, it's an amistoso, we don't care. It was this tournament. That was our B team. It did not matter to them, man. They were
See,
just adding in.
it was in their heads too. I'm telling you, it was. And that Joel, I believe, is what could very well happen
Oh, not. Oh,
if the U.S. wins the Gold Cup.
yeah.
I think that the decade of dominance, we're at a crossroads here.
But I feel that Mexicans managed to revert that, and I saw it in 2 Gold Cups. The one when they went under Aguirre when they won 5-0, is just crushing defeat, and then the 2011 when they were losing and they were losing 2-0, and they end up winning at 4-2. That's when you have that Gio goal. I'm sure a lot of people have seen a GIF of it when he dribbles around Tim Howard. And then let's give JCO some credit. He got that win at Columbus, which was their fort. It was their stronghold, impenetrable, and finally got that win there. So I think they sort of reverted a lot of that.
And it was
But
Rafa did it too. Just yeah.
but I feel this team is still very strong. Like if you were to bring in all the the heavy hitters, it's just stronger. I know they played recently
That doesn't mean anything.
with Tuca. that was the reason. A lot of what I was talking about earlier, how Mex will schedule these friendlies, and just how much more serious they take them. And we saw the U.S. win. They beat
I told you,
the
Joel,
Tuca-led youth team. Huh?
the U.S. soccer pays bonuses for
Yeah.
wins
Yeah.
in friendlies, and the one that they get the most for is for beating Mexico.
But, but you know, John, a todos los veo verdes. Uh, I think they're gonna be better off than the last cycle, but I still not as strong when compared to what you have with all these
See,
Mexican dudes.
you're making the same mistake
No, I'm not,
that you're
Yon.
criticizing the folks for doing in the 2002 cycle.
No, I mean, because in the past they've had some other players that were just the U.S. had their players that were on top of their game, and right now, some of these guys that are expected to be better, like Julian Green, he's not exactly. Yeah, I still think he's a good player, but he's not at that level that people thought he was gonna be because he was with Bayern Munich, you know, and now he's in like I can't even pronounce this club. It's called Girth Firth. I can't. Yeah,
God bless you. You okay?
and it's in the second. It's not even a Bundesliga team. It's like their second division team. And so I mean, I'm not trying to knock the player, but this was one of the guys they thought was going to be right now starting for Bayern. You know, so I still.
And again, that's I talk to U.S. fans and Mexico fans. That is right there is the biggest difference between U.S. and Mexico, and let's do like South American powers, because the South American powers, Uruguay, Brazil, and Argentina, have dozens of players.
Yes.
Playing, and they have guys that they have guys that failed. They're not all successful. They have guys that fail too, and they end up in Liga MX. But they have dozens of players in Europe. If you want Mexico to play well consistently in these international tournaments, where they can compete and get to where you want them to, that's the only way it's going to. You can't do it with 9 guys in Europe. You need 9 guys in the EPL. You need 15 guys in La Liga, 10 guys in La. That's the only way it's going to happen.
Yeah. Well, that's where ultimately that's the goal, and that's why I think just going back to Liga MX being at 20 or 24 teams in the league, it would help because ultimately that means you having more Mexican players active, especially if they don't reduce the foreign limit. So that just means just more opportunities for more talent to come out.
Can we just compromise? Just say 7 foreigners on your 30-man squad.
So, but then they do the naturalizados, and then that just, these guys are always finding loopholes.
No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. But I do think that that's what Mexico should aspire to, Joel, is to make make the semifinals of the World Cup. Have a chance to play for the final. The semifinal has to be more nervy than the final, because the final, se acabó. That's the end of the road. But the semifinal to play that game and not get a chance to experience that, that one's got to be the killer. So we need to start a campaign for it. Let's get to the sexto partido, because the sexto guarantees a septimo.
We will. I think we'll see it, Yon. We'll see it. If not this coming World Cup, the next one, because it's gonna be that 48 team World Cup. It's gonna be a lot of shenanigans.
and Mexico, and there's and Mexico. Well, I'll tell you what, it's going to be tough because if FIFA is doing it the way I think they're going to do it, only the group winners advance.
Yeah, but I mean, it's going to be a group of 3. But I mean, if it'll be Mexico, India, and like something like Mali or something. And
no, it won't. No, it won't. It's going to be 1 through 16, and then 17 through 32. 17 through 32 are good teams. Teams that can beat Mexico. And then 30, 33 through 48. So.
Yeah, but Mexico will be cabeza de serie, so they're gonna avoid. They're gonna avoid one.
They play at Azteca, they play Monterrey, they can play Guadalajara, they can play all 3 cities.
Yeah, but I mean, also the U.S. World Cup 2022, Mexico's having all home games. So I mean, if you can't get it there, then forget it. Just call it a night.
Right.
Pack it up and. But let's just dedicate ourselves to caminata or something else. Just some other sport.
Like El Sargento Pedraza.
Yeah. Okay,
you know who that is, right, Joel?
No, I do not.
You don't know who the Sargento Pedraza was?
No, sir.
Pedraza was the one who got the silver medal at the 68 Olympics.
Damn.
In the first track and field medal Mexico had ever won.
Yeah, well, Mexico's been a powerhouse in caminata.
Ever since.
Yeah, and those wondering, caminata is like speed walking, right?
Yes. Absolutely. I remember when they won the gold and silver in Los Angeles too. Remember that?
No, I never kept up with caminata.
Yeah, you never into you don't walk like those guys do.
No, I tried it, but only when I have to go to the bathroom.
That's a very good point. It is like a 20-kilometer potty walk.
I ate a burrito once, and yeah.
You did a potty dance for 16 miles. Las tienes bien apretadas, Joel. You have to.
Dang. Yeah, in those situations you have to. But John, ya casi se terminan mis minutos.
We said your calling card is running out, Joel.
My calling card, you read my mind. I was just gonna say that. My calling card. Any topic you want to finish this off with?
Well, we have 3.
What happened?
That's a good win point. So I'm still bullish on Cruz Azul. And and so did Tigres. So all the the talks of demise that that Tigres and Cruz Azul were not going to be as good are unfounded, Joy.
Yeah. I mean, I think fans forget just how Liga MX is pretty evenly matched, and even though the teams you name are still stronger, it's not to the point where they're just going to steamroll competition. They have to be at their absolute best. But right. Liga MX teams usually they do a good job of reinforcing, so you really can't expect a lot of times teams to, you can't expect them that they're gonna just stay how they were most of the time, just because they could easily bulk up. So one of the things we saw with Chivas, they went out and got 4 or 5 players, and they look like a different team from last season. They're currently in 2nd place, and I believe they face Veracruz, which they should take some points from there. It's imperative for them to get some points so they can continue on their run for Liguilla. So yeah,
That is
we
how
see that.
Pumas qualified. Is that they beat the bad teams. I mean, they didn't tie the bad teams. They beat the bad teams.
Yeah,
If you beat 5 bad, that's 15 points. That means you
yeah,
only
and
need to
that's
get 11 points from your other 12 games. You got to beat the bad teams in Liga MX to make the Liguilla.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's just what it's kind of been, because yeah, Cruz Azul, for example, faced Chivas and Chivas beat them, but I mean, they were playing a Chivas team that was just came well prepared. But I think yeah, Cruz Azul and the teams you're mentioning, Yon Tigres, they're all gonna be, at the end of the season, they're gonna be competing. You
Question
have
is,
to have some type of nuclear meltdown for those teams to miss out.
as a professed Chivas fan, you're a Chivas fan. Let's not mince words. You may not be as passionate as you once were, but my question is, when Chivas starts to play well, is it like ET when he knows he's coming home and he starts glowing, because they've sent the signal, and
Pretty
is that what
much.
happens to Chivas fans when they start playing well? Does the heart light turn on? You start glowing, and you start paying attention a little
I would,
more. You kind of
yes,
set up a little bit more when you're watching.
I
So
would
what
say
you're saying
so.
is that Chivas fans are the biggest fair weather fan, not just fan. That's not what I'm saying. No, that's great. That's how all fans should be. You can, things happen and this and that, but if your team's playing well, then what I just
Yeah,
described is something that happened not just with Chivas fans, but with every fan. Think of an Atlas fan, like when that finally happens for Atlas, how long it's going to take that light. It's like when you're trying to start the lawnmower with the pull cord, and it takes you like 20 times to do it. That's what's going to happen to Atlas when they finally get the light on. So
yeah. And Atlas, and we were talking about just how if teams do the right investments, how much stronger they can get. And so we're seeing like the teams that didn't really invest are the ones struggling, and that would be Pumas and Querétaro's having a really hard time. Querétaro is a team that last season they made it in the eighth place, and now they've been pretty bad, but they just
get it.
they did not the directiva did not reinforce the team.
They did not. And,
So
yeah,
yeah,
so Pumas tied Veracruz at home. That goes to, Veracruz is terrible. That goes to
they
show
are.
you
They
how
are,
bad
but
it's
they
been.
do have a really good coach who is bound to cause some few headaches.
Well, Joel, I don't want to go over your minutes. I know that we've reached our
Yeah.
limit here. So before we go, do you have any final tirade you want to get off your chest, or
Mm,
any pearl of wisdom, perhaps? Not a tirade, but words of wisdom for our listeners.
um. No, I think we hit the main topics. Uh, and the big the big talking points were we made them last week with
Does
uh with this guy returning home, which was Titan Salcedo. And now there's the news that it's almost a done deal that Layun is coming back as well. Monterrey seems to be one of the main. Monterrey, man, they really want it. They have two of the top three most expensive signings of the season. They already have two of the three, and if they bring in Layun, they're sending a big message, man. They're gonna want that Liga MX title. That's they grasped it a few times, Yon. They
they've
kind of
watched other teams win a title in their brand new
yeah,
shiny stadium.
like they got to hold it and it got taken away from them. But man, that's like whoa. I think it'll be kind of funny if they still lost.
Imagine, Joel, how permanent the ass chapping is
Well,
for a Rayados fan to know that Tigres won a title at the Tamalera before Rayados. Seriously, I mean,
yeah,
That's got to be just an ass chapping that lasts a lifetime.
They're gonna steal the spotlight from Cruz Azul, you know. It's not gonna be like Cruz Azul. It's gonna be like La Raye or something like that. Um, but that's about it. I'll say Layun. I'll be happy to see him back. I I don't know if we're gonna
He's
see
had a
the
solid
same.
career in Europe. He did all right.
He
He played
yeah
well.
he's had, and I think does he? I think he does have a EU passport though. I'm pretty sure
He
he
does.
does.
It made
Yeah,
it a
through
lot easier
his
for him to go.
yeah his family. I think his grandparents are Spaniards
You're
or so.
Italian.
Oh, they're Italian. Oh, there you go. um. So yeah, but yeah, you're right, John. He had a good career. We'll be glad to see him back. But that's just it.
Fair enough. Well, any predictions for your Chivas against Veracruz,
Uh,
against the Tibu?
yeah, I expect him to take some points from the Puerto Jarocho, 1 point
Will will
minimum. But
will Chopi score 4 goals or 5
no,
goals?
he's in his dreams because he's injured still, Yon. He won't be back till like maybe two
Well, to
months or
me,
something.
there's no point in playing Chopis until he's 100%. He's
That's
like
true.
a 100 meter dash athlete. If there's something wrong, it's not worth it. It's not
Yes,
worth the trouble.
not at
So
all.
that's but once he gets going, he can't be stopped. He cannot. He cannot be stopped. The force is very strong with Trophies.
It
I
is.
believe that in my heart. And I know
I
you believe it too.
A little bit. I think it
Yeah.
can be. I think it can be, but
Yes.
we'll see.
He needs to get his head good with ball, and then I think that he could be he's like 23, 24 now, right?
Yes,
Yeah, so it's ahora o nunca for la Chofis. It's
I think yeah.
one of those things. We'll see how it plays out. Well, Joel, thank you so much for joining me on my little journey here. Now, because I know we only had an hour, we should be proud of me. I did not stop for kolaches this time, so
Oh man,
no kolaches for me this time.
no kolaches. You probably just passed by it though, so
But
that
there
should
are
be good enough.
several Whataburgers between me and my house, and
Ah,
I'm not guaranteeing that I will not stop. I don't know what I just said, but it sounds like I'm hedging my bets. Is what I'm saying.
yeah,
Well, Joel, I know I appreciate you coming on. I thought it's always a pleasure to talk footy with you. And I have to, before we go, I do have to mention one last thing. We're hoping that our friend Tom and Numeritos Harrison has learned the very valuable skill of eating a taco without spilling it. I'm sure he has. I'm sure he picked it up very quickly. But
yeah. He's been living.
his
Yeah, for those that don't know, he's been living in Mexico now for a couple months.
So we wish him the best of luck in learning how to, because it's almost you have to the pinky is very important when you hold a taco to not spill.
Yeah, yeah. It's part of the.
It's it is indeed very very
Yeah. Hopefully we'll have him into.
I will bid farewell to you, sir. Bid farewell to our audience. Thank you very much for joining us here on a gentleman's agreement while driving remix edition of the CantinaMX podcast. We will is on Thursday, so we thank you for listening. And of course, you can listen to this live on our YouTube page. If that's how you prefer to do it, by all means. We also are available to you on iTunes and on Google Play. Subscribe to us, and when we podcast and post the podcast, it gets delivered right to your phone. So who doesn't want to listen to these guys talk Mexican soccer? I mean, seriously, talk Mexican soccer for an hour or so. Anyway, we do appreciate y'all listening. My name is John Jagood. For Joel Aceves, I bid you a very good evening. Thank you very much. Well, Joel, if you're still with me,
Yeah, I'm here.
we're actually still on the air. You have to bear with me for a few moments as I find a spot to do what we need to do. So, how about like a little? This is like the after party, Joel. You know, people have probably turned it off, and you know now we can get to the really good stuff, Joel.
No, ya, ahora sí ya me voy, John.